when the mortgage issues began in the area across the country. And we really got busy and we got pretty successful doing that. The contract that we won through the FAA, it was a
Okay.
rehab project. It wasn't a huge project, so we didn't have to bond for that. So the
Okay.
project itself was 125,000. I've done local work, I've done work for the cities, and it's not the same. The invoice could change, the contract can change, the payment amount can change. A lot of things can change when it's city and state. I really just want to hear the presenters. I want to see what information they're sharing. There's going to be a roundtable doing the matchmaking and hear what the large primes want and even what the government agencies are looking for.
All right, Adrian, thanks for being here today. So tell us a little about ARM Property Construction.
So Arm Property, we actually started, our actual name is Arm Property Maintenance.
Okay.
So my DBA is Arm Property Construction and Development. Arm Property Maintenance, we started in '06. I used to work at, we're serial entrepreneurs. We had a tow truck company. We had all type of different businesses, but
Uh-huh.
we stumbled upon property preservation work. So we have been doing rehabs and flips and things like that. And then we got into the '06, '07, and that's kind of when the mortgage, the follow the mortgage issues began in the area. So or across the country, and we really got really busy, and we got pretty successful doing that. So we really grew our business from that perspective. So we did everything from insurance inspections for the clients. So our clients were the banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, um, any bank client, even the smaller banks and investors. And then we grew that. So we had to get into a bigger space. We started at home, we grew into bigger spaces and hired more people. And then over time, we ended up doing what's called insurance claim repair. So it was for the same clients, but when they had issues like that were insurance claimable, such as flooding or roofing or whatever the damages were, we would come in and complete those repairs. So from that, my husband's already was in construction in that field, but he became licensed, and 2 years later, I became a licensed builder. So we just focused primarily on hazard claim repair, and from that, we grew more into the construction side, and you know, but with that, things kind of really were up and really were good, and having a bank client is great because all your work comes to your email, so you don't public, and that's a great thing. But over time, everything has its ebbs and flows.
Mhm.
So even with that, it had its ups and it had its challenges. It has its challenges. So from there, I started to look at other. Well, actually, we had an incident where one of our clients lost Chase, and Chase lost a HUD contract, and it was
Mhm.
huge. Like it was huge for us. So I really was like decided that we needed to do something different and find other ways of revenue. And just marketing to the public is good, but it has its challenges as well. So that's what made me start looking at federal contracting and how to figure that out.
That's interesting. It sounds like you started at the same time I did, right? That the '07, '08 period of time is when I started. But so where first of all, where are you physically located? Where you got what city you guys are in? State?
So we're in Metro Detroit, Michigan
Okay.
area.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have you always been there?
Always.
Okay. All right. Well, in Detroit, I have imagined when that '08 hit, probably had a big
It
falling.
was huge. And what was so crazy is that we started in '06. So a lot of companies didn't want to come to Detroit. So it was a lot of default properties in the area. So we were like, hey, we'll do it, we'll take it. So we did great. Then once they started seeing how much money we were making, then, more people started coming. But
Okay.
we were here, we were in the area, so we were comfortable with it. And actually doing work that way, it was a great way to learn because you have a default property, you have a work order, the client, and you basically go in and assess the property for the client.
Okay.
It's a great way to kind of learn everything about a property, what hub requirements are, how to, present the client, how the client wants the property presented back to them. So it was a great learning experience.
Let me ask you a different question because I've when I first started, I did some city work and at Miami-Dade County, and we did a lot of like Section 8 properties that we had to go in and renovate, like they were transitioning them. And for me, what I found in those areas was that people were coming in and taking my stuff, and they would damage it before I could finish and turn it over for inspection. Did any of that happen to you in Detroit?
You mean that they would damage your when you were trying to do the rehab?
Yeah, they were damaging my rehabs because again, now mine was in the middle of a community, so there was not housing community, but like a project. So there was. So I'm turning over these units. They gave us say 12 units that you have to go in, fix them up, and then turn them back over to Miami-Dade. But when you go in and you fix it up, the people go in there and like they take my copper out, they take the AC, like they were going in there and damaging the units before I could turn them over.
They do. So, and that was
Okay,
what
so
we
that's happened to you. So that happened to you.
Yeah, that's what they did. So what we learned is that you don't use copper for one because they're going to steal it. You use PEX. You do not install the AC until it's time for conveyance or the day before, or the water heater. You do that the day before conveyance, and you take a lot of pictures because even they can take it. Even they're if someone's going to take it, they're going to take it. But to protect yourself, you do as much as work as possible. That they can't pick up and steal. You photo document everything, and you wait till the last day to put the hot stuff in.
So that's funny because that's why I was asking. Like, did that same thing happen to you? So the same thing happened in Detroit. That happened down here.
It was a whole market. I think it was like it was a market for that here. So stealing copper was a big deal. Just breaking it, and then they would. Well, the way the bank handles it, they plastered notices all over the door, like it was an obvious bank-owned property.
Right.
So people would squat.
They knew.
They would, it was like So what can you do? So we were able to just learn how to work around it, but at the same time, we had to. It's only so much we could do, unless they want to hire security.
Right. No, no, that's interesting. I just remember those experiences, and I go. Yeah. I wonder if you had the same thing. So okay, so wow. Right? No. I mean, listen, we've had people steal stuff out the vans and then try to sell it back to us, and they didn't really want it. They just wanted you to give them money for your stuff back, and it's interesting. That's it seems like that's a cultural issue with people you would think that people in communities where you're getting all these free subsidies and things, you would be more appreciative, but it's not the case.
Not really, because I think that it was an opportunity. I mean, if they have a need and it was just an opportunity. And I had to realize like, it's not my job to think that deeply into it. I have to focus on my job, No.
So. That's a smart way to do it. Now, during that time, and we'll get to the actual contract part, but during that time, I know that you guys, you have some property and real estate. We talked kind of offline about buying real estate and doing some investment. Did you guys do any investment during that time?
We did. So we ended up, because the properties was so cheap then. So we got a lot of good properties at a lot of good prices. So we did hold on to some for a long time. Not as long as we could have, because we could have had like tons, because we were able to get like houses for $3,500. It was cheap back then. Think about it.
$3,500?
Yeah, some of the houses now that are worth $100,000. But the problem is, what we were discussing before, is the quality of tenant that you were going to get. Right. The area wasn't built up properly for the tenant. It was a lot involved, in order to get that. But we did get our hands on some good properties.
Nice. Oh, that's great. That's great. So now, like you said, you've done that, you're prepared, and then in terms of like on the federal side, right? Tell us about the contract that you won, the federal contract. What was that about?
So the contract that I won, I'm sorry, let me see over here. The contract that we won was through the FAA. It was a rehab project. It wasn't a huge project, so we didn't have to bond for that. So the project itself was $125,000. And then we got it to about, I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but overall it ended up being about 135, something like that. Okay. So when I did the site walk, I found some other issues because they wanted some rehab work done in the inside. It was painting, some soffit work, and then, ceiling tile, just typical rehab. It was on the VOR building, which is a small building in the middle of a field that services the airport. You ever been to a VOR?
No, I maybe I have, but I've been to some of those buildings that are in the middle of fields that have these big towers on them. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So it has like these, I don't know if they call them like mailbox kind of like receptor things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know it's called a VR Is
It's
that
called
what?
VOR, and I'll have to look up what VOR stands for.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
but
it
I've
was
been to some of those buildings. What's it like? You said it's in the middle. There's like in the middle of a big old field, a cow field, pasture, and there's this building, and there's these tower things like with ropes coming down.
yeah,
I've
it's
seen
like,
that.
what is that? So
Yeah,
then when you go
yeah,
inside, it looks like it reminds you of like MASH. It's like this old, old computer and a like
yeah.
dot pixel printer and like all this old stuff. So it's pretty cool. We had to redo the floor, paint, do the ceiling tile, just update it. And then when I did the walkthrough, I inquired like, well, why are we doing the ceiling? If there's leaks on the tile, damage to the ceiling drop tiles, clearly there's roof damage. So I gave them a bid, and then they approved that. So that was pretty cool. So we were able to do that also. And it was a great project. We completed the work. We did have to kind of schedule it out. We wanted in the spring, and we didn't get to do it until we wanted in, I think, September, October, and we didn't get to perform it until the following spring.
Wow. Now,
So,
for us Floridians who don't know what spring means, can you define
well, like April
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
following
thank you.
year.
Okay,
So,
good.
because we were looking at it like, hey, as soon as it's approved, we can schedule this out. But
Right.
no, it takes some steps and meetings before it's ready. But it was a great job. Like we did exactly what was required. We had a representative on site who worked really great with us. We got paid immediately. I documented because I'm accustomed to documenting property, work that we do anyway. And it was great. It was a great job.
So when you say got paid immediately, right? Because people say that government pays slow. What does that mean? What was your timeline?
This was so as soon as I invoiced, I was paid within 10 days. If I don't even remember how quickly, but it was quick, and it was through the Delphi system.
The what system?
Delphi.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I used Delphi, and it was great. Like I take a ton of those back.
No, that's interesting. And it was in your area? Was it in your area?
It was. So
Okay.
it was in Wayne County. We're in Wayne County. Detroit is in Wayne County.
Okay.
So I just happened to see it. And actually, I was following directions from you because and updating my capability statement. I'd done all the things, and I was submitting outsourced SODs. And you were like, well, all right, Adrian, just start bidding on jobs. So I looked and saw that job. I was like, oh my God. So we went to the site visit. We were the only ones that showed up. And I bid on it and won. It was great.
That's funny. I think that's great because so many people, and if you guys missed what she said you were the only person that showed up, right?
We the only ones at the site visit.
Right. But the site visit was not mandatory.
It wasn't mandatory.
Right.
But I mean, it's always mandatory. Because it made me more comfortable to bid on it. Because
yeah, for you, no, I get you, but there's some people that bid sight unseen, so you don't actually know how many people submitted on it, the bids.
Right. True enough. I don't.
Yeah. So, but either way, you were the only person there, and you were like, okay, good, and then you bid and you won. Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's great. I love that. What's interesting is that we actually. And then, we just got fired the call. You're now helping us out with the conference coming up in November.
Yes.
And FAA is one of the people we're trying to get to the conference.
Yeah. FAA, well, they seem pretty easy to work with. So, I mean, and if you look at the level of opportunities there are as far as just doing work from airports to, simple stuff to the huge jobs. I mean, that's a great client to have.
Yeah. No. We had several students actually got their first contracts from FAA. So I like FAA. They give new people a try, and they give you a chance. And so have you, are you considering doing more work with FAA? Or, I mean, I know you're working in your area. Are you looking at more projects with them?
I am. We bid on a couple of VORs, and the other job sites that we went to, the other site visits, it was a lot of us there. So it's a little disheartening. So we didn't win those, but right now I'm trying to build my bonding capacity.
I gotcha.
So, that's the objective. And I really want to do it. I want to do it slowly in a way that is just based on the jobs that I do step by step. So.
Yeah, that makes a difference, right? So one of the things that we talk about is again, if you can increase your bonding capacity, you just start creating separation between you and the next person. So
Right.
that's real separation there,
Right.
right? You know, no, that's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. And in terms of that project, how long was the project? How long did it last?
Um, at the most, because they had certain
We
hours.
lost you. Went out. I'm not sure if it's
Oh,
my computer wrong. You said
it
how
was
long?
about 2.5 to 3 weeks. I would say 3 weeks.
Mm,
And really, it was because of the working around their hours and whatever challenges they had, and if they had time, because we were ready to blitz, like we could have blitzed right through that. You know what I mean?
right, right,
Could have knocked it out, but it's such a nice structured way to work because you have a client that really takes their time to tell you what is it that they want. You're not going in blind trying to figure it out. And even if you have challenges, it's a real meeting to discuss. This is what we're doing. They're agreeing upon the work that has to be done, the materials that you're going to supply. Everything is discussed beforehand, so there's no problem at the end where you don't get paid or there's
right.
some other hiccup. So yeah, it was
Oh,
good.
I love it. I love it. What for people listening to this, what kind of information that you'd like to share with them that you think they should know about getting into federal contracts or contracts at all? Period.
It's a big difference doing federal versus city and state. It's, I don't know if it's night and day, but it's a huge difference. So I've done local work, I've done work for the cities, and it's not the same. I mean, the invoice could change, the contract can change, the payment amount can change when you thought you were going to get paid. I mean, a lot of things can change when it's city and state, but federal it's much more streamlined. It's just a lot. It's more work to get into.
Right.
It's more work to get into and to present yourself to the client and for them to know who you are. But once you get in there and once you get comfortable with that, I think it's a real way to grow your business.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to in terms of the conference?
I am looking forward to what am I looking forward to? I really just kind of want to hear the presenters. I want to see, what information what they're sharing. I know there's going to be a roundtable, which is interesting. I'm trying to encourage, just trying to encourage her to move to federal, but really just hearing just doing the matchmaking and hearing what the large primes want and even what the government agencies are looking for.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Good stuff. Well, Adrian, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
thank you.
It was painless, and we thank you for sharing with people out there because, hey, there's folks out here watching and they're thinking about taking the leap and they're concerned, and I'm always happy when people share their experiences with state and local or city. I didn't even expect that to come from you, but because I just it's something that for me personally, I say it depends on where you're working at, but for the most part, I just um, when people talk about government paid slow, it's for me they're referring to city work, municipal work, state work. I just haven't experienced that with the federal. So thanks for confirming that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
So I'm looking forward to growing. I'll be back when I get my next big contract.
yay! We can't wait. We can't wait.
All
Thank
right.
you. All right, love. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.